Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue sur cette nouvelle vidéo de la grande revanche. Alors aujourd'hui un peu particulier, ce sera une vidéo en anglais où on va présenter la première cinématique que j'ai pu réaliser sur Unreal Engine. Donc ce sera en anglais, si vous n'y comprenez rien vous mettez les sous-titres et j'espère que ça vous plaira. Hi everybody! Today la grande revanche is back and I'm back on track with something quite special because we are watching my first homemade cinematic on Unreal Engine. So I started to work on the software on November 2020. It was my first contact with an engine, and from scratch I took more or less 4 weeks to build the scene you're about to see. It was very challenging, but I loved it. Although, like every first project, we make a lot of mistakes, so please don't judge me too hard onto it. I reached my first goal anyway, to make a kind of a draft of a short cinematic. Just before we start, stay with me at the end of the cinematic. I'll do a small review, kind of making off to analyze things I'm happy with and things I failed. Enjoy it! So welcome back on the review. Let's go for the review of this little cinematic. I hope you liked it. Let's go. So just before we start, the entire set here that you can see has been imported from Epic Games stores, so it's not something that I've built myself, although I have changed little things like the trees behind or the birds in the sky. But mainly it's coming from the store itself, because I wasn't able at the time when I started to work on the software, I was not able to build that scene because I didn't know how to use Maya or 3ds Max. So now I'm quite capable to do that, but at the time I wasn't. So let's start with the first sequence where the character is coming inside the room. As you can see, I've tried to organize the lights as if I was on a real set, meaning by different spotlights to unlock the character. I really like the way that the first shot is going, like starting from the sky with the birds going from one side to another of the screen, and then the camera is tilted down to catch the entrance of the character. Like a screamer, we are waiting a long time, expecting something to happen, and then the character is coming up. This was quite difficult to do, because we have a lot of different animations from the character that are going here, like jog, right, stop, and then the way that she plays with a bow and then starts to run. As you can see, also have a lot of keyframes for the movements. On the second shot, I really like the second shot because it is something taken from behind, and it's a 180 cut. I really like it because you have a beautiful blur effect. That's something that I really like, the movement and this very specific proximity with the character, with the boots of the character. I really like it. Also, we can see that the lights are moving with the character itself, so we can have like a contre-jour to see the character properly, even though it's a bit dark. I wouldn't do it again this way, I believe, because it's really dark, and yeah, the light could be a bit better, but anyway, I really like the shot and I kept it. The third shot is a bit more precise. This is the first shot when we can imagine the room itself, because we haven't seen any exposition shot from the beginning. So this is a shot in French called un plan découverte, coming from something quite abstract to something quite showing the space and the room itself. Now the character is just jumping. As you can see, the lights are still following the movement. This was very difficult to program. I don't know if you are aware of that, but there's no pre-programmed jump. Like, you have to program the jump, just putting together all the different animations from the starting of the jump and then the apex and the recovery. So as you can see, she's just jumping from the left foot, which is quite unnatural. I believe that with someone with greater skills in animating characters like a rigger, he could do something much better than that. But we understand what she's doing. That's the most important thing. So after that little jump here, let's go to the second sequence where the character is casting the spell. I really like this shot, the way that it is moving and the fact that the camera is going backward before the ground starts to go backward too. As if the camera was aware of what is supposed to happen. As if the character itself was moving the camera backward. So the floor is opening and then a huge fire coming from the ground. Also really like this because we understand that this is a turning point in the cinematic, because it is all coming from gray and blue and brown textures and colors to something really warm, orange and red stuff. So yeah, this is something I really liked. The camera is just really close from the ground, so we have that feeling that the fire is even burning the camera, burning the viewer. Then the camera is going up with the statue, so the statue is coming from the ground to the sky. We are going up and we have another découverte shot, like coming from darkness and abstract space to something quite clear. We understand that the camera went up with the statue. Obviously here there is something that I really dislike, because I would have loved that the character watched the camera and watched the statue with facial expression like fear or surprise, and not playing the bow as she is doing right now. So this is something I couldn't do because I wasn't able to rig the character properly, but that's something that I wanted to do at this precise moment. So this is the part of the video where I'm less satisfied. Then the statue itself starts to fall and the character is just flashing. I really like this shot too, because the camera is following the statue with a little shake. Although when this shot starts, the statue is down and we have no stones, nothing that makes us believe that the statue really fell down and broke into pieces. Also something that I cannot do by myself. And one of the last shots, I really like this shot too, the way that the character is just running, going through the different brasier, as if the fire, as if she was crossing the fire itself. Also, I really suck at mixing sounds, but I would have loved to get something that makes like whoosh when she goes from one fire to another, you know, to just give the rhythm of the sequence. But the music works quite well onto that too, so that's fine. Also, here we have a huge rock falling, and as it falls, it makes another thing where it falls, like the brazier is falling too. Well, today I believe that I would do it with a collision system, but I didn't know how to do it. But now I would do it with a collision system, which means that here we just have a keyframed animation from the brazier falling to the ground, which is why it's not quite natural, although it's happening in the background of the character running, so it's not that important. But yet this is something that I would love to do properly. The way also the brazier is just falling to the ground is not really natural, because the brazier is just going to the ground and it stops straight away. Well, this is not realistic. Actually, when something that big falls to the ground, it is supposed to roll a bit, or to shake, or this is quite steady, too steady to be true. As you can also see, lights are still following the character. We have a lot of lights. These are spotlights, and it's very comfortable to shoot with that. We can hide some lights, you know, that lights are here in the middle of the screen, but we cannot see it because they are invisible, and they can only impact the character itself and not the entire scene, which is very, very comfortable when you're coming from real actors and real sets and real lights. It's absolutely impossible to get that situation. And the last shot, I really like it too, because well, the character is running before us, and the whole room is just collapsing, the walls and the ceiling and everything. We also have some details in the back, even if it's a bit blur, but we can see obviously the wall falling to the statue, and then the statue turning. All that over there is made with keyframed animation. So I really enjoyed it doing it keyframing, because you can easily change what you want, and you don't have to work with the box colliders or collision system, which is quite difficult actually, to get exactly what you want. You also have some little tricks that I really like, because as you can see at the beginning of the cinematic, the door is not facing the statue, the main statue, so that was a problem. At the end of the video, it was so hard that I just moved the entrance. As you can see here, I moved the entrance when the character was in the back casting the spell, or who knows what, so that the last shot renders properly, like the character are coming from the middle of the screen and the room to exit this door, which is perfectly in the middle for this last shot. Well, for all these reasons, I took a lot of pleasure doing it, because as a filmmaker, it is incredible to change all the details, to change the light, to change the set in a few seconds. These kind of shots would take weeks or months to do, and here, when the set is settled up and the character is up and the animations are pre-programmed, you can do some really good stuff in a few days, and it's really easy to work onto that. The next cinematic I'm working on is built this time on Unity, so this will be different. This won't be that epic, but still a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you again really soon. Bye bye.